Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, I will be creating 100 button pin designs, which is a crazy amount, and I will explain why. So I guess you can say that this is also a challenge, like the 100 layer of nail polish challenge or the 100 layer of mascara challenge. And I know that challenge was from a very long time ago, but I still wanted to make 100 button pins. The reason why is that some of you know I have an Etsy shop, and in that Etsy shop I had a couple of pin packs already made. I think I had about 3, maybe 4 packs of pins, and those packs have 9 pins total, so it's kind of like a set, and you can also order single pins if you'd like. And I felt like it wasn't enough and that I needed to create more designs because my store did look kind of empty. So I told myself I needed to create more, and I was going to add some of my art to it, but at the same time I thought my art looked hideous and it would look worse if it was on a pin, so I made different doodles and quote pins. I thought of doing 100 because I felt like 25 or even 50 different pin designs weren't enough. So yeah, this took me about a full month to make a design, cut each and every one of them out, and then it took me about a full month to make the design, then print it out, cut every single one of them out, and then press all of them and package a few of them because a few of them were supposed to be sets. And I did this on and off. I would try to work on at least 10 different designs every other day, and pressing them only took about a day, probably 5, maybe 8 hours. I really didn't keep track, but that is about the time range it took me to press all of them. It was more of the drawing the designs is what took the longest time. And how I did all of this was I ended up going online to a company that sells button presses, and they have a file of the exact measurements of 2 different circles in order for your image to fit onto a button. There are 2 different circles because one is an inner circle and the other is an outer circle. The inner one indicates the size of the image that will be showing on the button once it's pressed, and the outer circle is the line that you cut after you print it all off, and that indicates how much of the paper goes behind the button once it's pressed, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Anyways, after I found that, I went onto Fire Alpaca and outlined it, making sure I used a transparent background. And that is very important because once you go onto a different file, in order to start drawing your images, you don't want that white background, or else you'll go over those black circles that you drew, or your drawing will be underneath the black circles, and because of that white background you won't be able to see what you're drawing. What transparency does is once you have outlined something and you go onto a different file, you can draw a color underneath those lines that you drew without having the colors or whatever else you're drawing go over top of them. You can just see them underneath the outlining layer. I'm just really bad at explaining things, so just bear with me. After all of that nonsense was done, I started drawing and coloring my drawings in, and then saving them at the size that I wanted the button to be. And when I was saving them, I would always get rid of that inner circle, or else if I keep it and you print off, the circle will be noticeable, and even if you press it, and I am talking about the inner circle, you want to get rid of that, or else it will be showing on your button. You can fit at least 20 buttons. You can fit at least 20 buttons on one page, but it also depends on the size of your buttons. My buttons, when they are pressed, are 2.25 inches. There are some buttons that can be smaller or some that can be bigger, so make sure you know the size of the button when it is pressed. And usually if you get a button press, it should say the size in the description. Once I printed all of that out, I had to cut each and every single drawing out, and I mean all of it. I don't have a circle cutter, nor could I even find one that was in my local store. I could have just gotten one from online, but I didn't want to wait a week for it to come in, so I did it all by hand with scissors. I didn't do it by hand, I just used scissors. But get a circle cutter because that will save your hand. Then after that was done, I started pressing all of them. I think the best thing about this is when you're finally pressing your buttons and you see how they look like, and you're just happy that they look good. Like, that's the final result. My least favorite was probably the drawing part, just because I'm not that good at drawing on the computer, but pressing them and then adding them to their sets was really satisfying. And some of you may know the packaging looks familiar, and that is because this is how Bailey J, one of the artists here on YouTube, does it. And she actually has a video on how she does it. Hers looks really cute and mine just kind of looks like poo. What can you do? But just the end results, just looking at it and just thinking to yourself, wow, I made that. It feels great. Even though it's just a simple button, you still feel, happy. So yeah, there are all of my buttons. If you would like one, I do have a link to my Etsy shop in the link below, as well as my Instagram has a link to my Etsy shop as well. But I hope you all enjoy this video. I had fun with this video. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also click on the notifications so that you know when I will be posting, because my posting schedule is all over the place and usually I never tell you guys to click the bell, but I feel like this time I should, just because I post at random occasionally. So if you click that bell, then you'll get notifications when I post a video, and I will try to keep you guys updated on my social media as well, but sometimes it can be hard. I can't believe we are at 940 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. That is just insane, but I love all of you guys and thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you in my next video. I love you guys. Bye.